It's actually crazy that they said that because this was actually the first prep or first show experience where I actually did kind of have an injury going in. So I actually kind of tweaked my knee about 3 weeks out. So it was kind of, it was a little bit nerve-wracking because I've never actually, knock on wood, really had any serious injuries or anything in any prep, anything like that. So it was a little bit of a scare. I actually ended up for 2 weeks not training my routine at all. Energy is a big thing, and you want to surround yourself with people with similar energy or people that are going to uplift you. But even sometimes, like if it's a really big dream, even some people you think.
Oh my God, be careful.
Well,
that's what you need. You need the Terminator screen in your head go telling you who that person is.
Yeah, exactly. So
she's the handstand, cartwheel, Barani flipping, horseshoe workout wearing queen. Sets her goals high, though she stays quiet, call it still. Doesn't do boohoo, women Olympian fitness champ, who could go from wearing a bikini to a gymnast gear on the flip of a coin. Please help me welcome Abby Bolton.
hello, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Where are you from again? Just tell everyone where you're from.
So I'm really close to Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. So I'm from Canada, really close to the US. So I actually go to school in Buffalo. So I hop across the border on a daily basis.
Yes.
So yeah, so I'm just south of Niagara Falls.
Wow. So sell it to us. If you were the tourist guide and you were going to sell where you're from in 1 minute, get us there. How do we get there? Like, sell us the place.
Oh my goodness, this is so bad because I'm from Niagara, like the Niagara area, but I haven't even been to see the falls probably since I was a kid, which is brutal. But it's one of those.
It's the same thing here in Australia too, because we got Ayers Rock, and I've never seen Ayers Rock. So
it's crazy, eh? It's like we take it for advantage. It's like Niagara Falls is one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's right in my backyard, but I just never go see it. Like I see it from afar, but at times, but it's a pretty incredible thing. That's for sure.
Canada is quite a green place. Is that true? And pretty place. Is it cold as well? It's a cold place, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So it is actually a really beautiful place. And where I'm from, because I'm south of Niagara Falls is not a big city. But where I actually live, I'm like out in the middle of nowhere. I actually live on the lake, so it's very secluded, very peaceful. There's a lot of greenery, lots of farms around me. So it's been a really great place to grow up. I'm not gonna lie. There's not much around me. There's lots of driving that I have to do. So like the gyms that I go to are like 20 to 30 minutes away from me, which is not always ideal, especially when you're training multiple times per day. But we make it work. But yeah, it's been a great place to grow up, and it is cold. That is the one thing that I'm not a fan of. It's great being able to experience all the different seasons. I know a lot of people don't get to experience that, so I'm grateful for that. But the cold, it's tough.
Yeah,
and it's starting to get cold right now.
Yeah. We're finishing spring soon, and we're going to go into summer here.
Oh, I'm jealous.
But I've heard Canada's a lot like Australia too, in the sense of its greenery, I guess. So I've never been, but I've heard a lot of nice things. All right, I'm going to start with but thank you for sharing that. I don't know if you sold it well, so we're not going to put you on the tourist commission. We're not going to put you onto that. But I think I said to somebody about going to Austria. Remember what I said to Katie? I said, "Tell us Austria." And you know what she said? People are grumpy. I said, "Well, I'm not coming to Austria." So that was quite funny.
Are pretty friendly. Canadians. So that's one thing that I'll sell.
No, most definitely. All right. You just did the Armed Forces National NPC Battle Royale, the Ben Wider Nationals, right? And just on one of your routines, narrated by a judge, which you just sent this morning to us. So I sat back and listened. It says this. Here's what he says. So it's not just a look; it's athletic. And then they said, OMG, sign me up. This routine is next level. She has not stopped moving, complete motion throughout. To do all that and to make it to the show and not get injured takes a lot. Tell us more.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome. So it's actually crazy that they said that, because this was actually the first prep or first show experience where I actually did kind of have an injury going in. So I actually kind of tweaked my knee about 3 weeks out. So it was kind
Wow.
of, it was a little bit nerve-wracking because I've never actually, knock on wood, really had any serious injuries or anything in any prep, anything like that. So it was a little bit of a scare. I actually ended up for 2 weeks not training my routine at all, which is frustrating because, especially as a fitness competitor, your endurance and your ability to showcase that 2-minute high intensity routine and make it look effortless is so important to stand out. So I was like, that was crucial time to really push the endurance for the routine. Luckily I was able to run it full out twice right before, like, the week leading up. And my knee wasn't 100%, but it was good enough to run through the full thing. And then come show day, felt completely fine. So, like, the timing worked out okay, but it was a little bit of a scare. And luckily I had been training my routine since May. I did a guest performance in May. I did one in July, and then I did one just in October. So even though I didn't compete all year, I was doing multiple guest performances, and those routines were actually longer. They were 2.5 minutes. So I really had gotten the endurance for the routine really kind of down packed early on. So I think that's kind of what saved me leading into this show, and kind of I was able to take those 2 weeks off the routine, and I just focused a lot on visualization, going through the routine in my head over and over and over again, executing it perfect mentally. That way, come show day, I knew I could hit it, knew I could execute how I wanted.
Well, I have got a question about visualizing, so I'll bring it forward a little bit. Tell us about this visualizing, because myself, I used to visualize at the age of 16, 17, 18. I don't think some people don't understand it, because it's something that you have to cling on to know somewhere you're going. So in other words, even in bodybuilding, I could visualize a small waist. I could visualize a six-pack, which we'll talk about in bodybuilding realms. That made me see it, excuse me, and believe it. And somehow your body feels it as well when you're visualizing it. Do you know what I mean? Like your muscles start to twitch, everything starts happening. So explain to us, and maybe with others watching, visualization with you, and how long that's been a part of your life and why you do it.
For sure. So I think the mental component, visualization, the mental training aspect of things is so crucial, so important. It's a huge piece of the puzzle. And if you're not utilizing it, you are missing out, because again, it's so crucial. I started implementing it actually back when I was a gymnast. So my coaches used to have us, even just in practices, like if it wasn't our turn to go do a routine or take a turn on whatever apparatus we were on, they would sometimes have us just sit and close our eyes and visualize ourselves going through the routine perfect, hitting every skill, and not just visualizing what it looks like, but what it felt like, the smell, like every little detail. The more detail you can put into the visualization, the more you can kind of manifest and make it a reality type. So I started as a gymnast. So I probably at age 10 or 11, that's when I started competitive. So ever since then, throughout my whole gymnastics career, that's something I utilized like crazy. And then I took it with me to bodybuilding. And my first coach, Mindy O'Brien, we aligned so well. She coached me for the first 6 years of my career, and she was huge into visualization as well. So when I kind of linked up with her, it was like, whoa, like this is a great match, because
it is like that when you meet another person that does that.
Right? Yeah, because not a lot of people do implement it. Not a lot of people understand it, but it is so important. And if you can picture yourself doing something and create that reality, it can be a game changer, because you have to be able to not just perform it, but yeah, you have to believe that you can execute perfectly and see yourself executing it perfectly before it even happens. So
Do you think we get that from being kids? We're daydreamers. Maybe I'm a daydreamer, a bit of a dreamer. I don't know. I'm thinking as you talk, I go, where? Because I wasn't a gymnast. I wasn't anything really, but I was definitely a dreamer. I was a big dreamer. I still
you
am.
know what? Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, because and that's the thing is as we become adults, a lot of people lose those dreams. They almost kind of
Yes.
settle into like,
Yes.
yeah,
I just
they
think,
don't
yeah,
stop dreaming. They stop chasing their goals. They stop dreaming big and aspiring to go on and do greater things. So, which is sad. It really is sad. But that's one thing I tell myself I will never do. Never settle. Always, there's always a way to accomplish something bigger, even if it seems so far away. It's just about staying on that path and again, keeping that vision in your head and envisioning it day after day, and eventually it will become reality.
I've got a whole 2 pages on your motivational stuff. Don't you worry. And what was that backflip with a push up and a kind of star jump? What the hell is that?
The backflip into almost like the ninja pose. It's fun doing some combo work sometimes.
Yeah, tell us.
Just math to kind of like putting skills together in a unique way. That way they stand out, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it was amazing what I saw from you. I mean, it was incredible. Like I said, I saw you do this black flip, then you kind of went into this push up, and then you jumped up and spread your hands out and your legs out. It was incredible.
Thank you.
Hey guys, Steve here from Muscle Talks. I just want to say thank you for you guys being here. Thank you for watching this podcast. What I'd really love is for you guys to hit the subscribe button. Why hit the subscribe button? It will just allow us to have a bigger reach, allow us to go get a bigger audience, and also bring you the best of the best here. Our goal here is to not only get our local people, but also international, and eventually, and hopefully, and will be bringing the Olympians to this station, Muscle Talks podcast. So please hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell. So every time our podcast is launched weekly, that you get notified and you can sit back and enjoy this. Thanks, guys.
How did you go in that show? Yeah, talk about that show. Come on, tell us about that show.
Yeah, so that was the first show I did in 2023. So I kind of took, I did the Olympia in 2022, which was last December already, which is crazy. And then I took all this time off, just kind of did the guest performances, like I mentioned. And then this was the last show for my category. So for fitness, this was the last show of 2023. So I was like, I can't go all year without doing at least one show. And I did this show last year, so I wanted to do it again. It's the only natural pro show in the world. So I really want to do this one. So yeah, so I've kind of been prepping for a while. I started with a new coach in kind of beginning of June. So we've just been kind of working together since then, pretty strict. Like obviously at the beginning of the year, like had some cheat meals here and there, but for the most part, it's just been like on diet, little bit different approach than what I'm used to. So this whole prep was a big learning experience for me. And that was kind of the reason, that was pretty much the main reason why I wanted to switch coaches, just to gain a different insight, different knowledge, just so for myself as a coach too, I'm learning different techniques, why a coach does one thing versus another coach. And again, just a learning experience. So I learned a lot. I've
heard, sorry to interrupt, because it's a good conversation and very important. I know huge Olympians that needed to change a coach. They didn't want to. It's sad to do. It's hard to do. It's like a relationship breakup. Yeah. But sometimes you need to that change. You're hoping for the better, but it also gives you that a new lift, a new spark, a new. You kind of don't know how to read the other person anymore, so it's a bit of a mystery too.
Yes, yeah, and that's the thing, that it was the hardest decision I've ever had to make, because it's not like anything went wrong with the other coach. I love, me and Mindy are still very good friends. I actually guest performed at her show in October. We have a very good relationship. I learned so much from her, and she's the one who got me ready for my first Olympia experience. She got me to the Olympia. She coached me for that show, and that was the best I've ever looked. So it was nothing to do with the coaching. It was more, I just needed to experience something new so that I could keep growing and just learn a new technique, learn a different approach to competition prep. And I did. I learned a lot. I'm not saying it was the easiest route. It was a lot of trust that I had to put into this new person. Because again, it was a whole different experience. It was a lot more food than I was used to. Or he would have like food bumps here and there. And me being in the past where I was always eating so little, at times to kind of push conditioning, I was like, are you sure? Like I should be eating this much? But again, it's that whole new experience, learning how to trust and just executing what they say.
Well, I've never had a I've never had a coach. I've actually coached soccer, but I don't know how to coach. And I've mentioned this before, but I did for a little while. I was seeing, I still do actually. I won't say for the last 10 years. I see sometimes a psychologist because I feel like they're my personal trainers to my brain.
Yeah,
they're my personal trainers for my brain. So the funniest was after 6 years being with someone, 8 years, I needed a change only because she was great, but I knew what the outcome would be every time, how we'd sit, what we'd talk about, and how we'd finish.
Yeah.
And it was scary to change, but it was, again, refreshing to get to know someone, for them to get to know me and to see a different perspective. So I'm trying to say maybe in coaching and seeing therapists, I'm not saying you should dump your therapist now, but it's definitely something that if you're not growing, talk to your therapist. If you've got a good relationship, saying, maybe a bit of a change might be good. You can always go back to them later. But I tell you, I found the change quite refreshing. So, and yeah, it's just, I think we need that in relationships, especially sport. I'm going to ask you again, I've got to get some questions moving forward, is the diet. How different is, let's say, a diet compared to a bikini girl, like that specifically, or a opens girl, to a girl that does fitness? Because you need fuel. You can't be so depleted and so ripped that you can't even do a handstand, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Because one minute you're in high heels,
Yep.
and the next minute you're barefoot. So, you know what I mean?
And this is what makes fitness hard, because
Yeah.
we are depleted and we're doing these crazy routines. So for this show specifically, this was more food than I was used to going into a show. I also wasn't as lean as I normally am. I was still happy with the outcome of my physique. It was a more full, like I had more shape. I had more
I was
fullness.
going to say you had more shape from 2022 to 23. There was dramatic shape there. Yes.
I was really happy with the growth there and that look. But I did need to be leaner, I think, in order to place a little bit higher. But as a natural athlete, you're kind of sacrificing one or the other. You're either pushing the conditioning and you'll shrink a little bit and lose some of that shape size, or you hold on to a little bit more of that shape size, but you might not get as great of conditioning, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the challenge, is finding that like happy medium where you get that perfect level of leanness, but without losing the shape. But from previous shows, so the Olympia, I was eating very little leading into that show. But
Yeah.
I've also been in, so I did my pro debut December 2021. I then competed June 2022, July 2022,
It was a big
September
year.
2022. It was a big year. So I was constantly in prep. And the thing is, when you're in prep that long, you're going to start to plateau, and you either push the cardio more or you drop the food. So by the time Olympia came around, like my calories were quite low. Like my carb source, not including vegetables, I think I was eating like 3 ounces of sweet potato a day. Like it was very low food, but we wanted to push the conditioning, and we did achieve a physique that that was a level of leanness I hadn't achieved before. So I was blown away with the physique I was able to achieve. And I was kind of shocked because the energy and the routine somehow maintained. But that is what makes fitness hard. You're eating very, very little, and then you have to do this 2-minute high intensity routine. But us fitness girls, we love that challenge. We thrive off of that challenge, and that is what makes it fun and makes it a little bit exciting.
When did they introduce the fitness part into the big opens bodybuilding shows, Olympia, everything? Because once upon a time it was just opens, and then there was the male category. That I think there was also a weight cap, I think as well, a little bit lower weight cap category, and then there was the open girls, and that was it. There was no bikini, there was no fitness, there was no men's physique, there was no classic. Go on.
There actually was. So a lot of people don't know this, but there actually was fitness right from the get-go. It was actually,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was fitness and then open women's bodybuilding. So if you didn't want to be like in the open women's bodybuilding, the girls went into fitness. Again, it wasn't, a lot of people don't know this, but that was kind of the origin of the sport. Fitness was very different back then. It's kind of evolved. I know at one point it was even more like pageant-like, where they had to do like a Q&A type round.
Okay.
But then it evolved. I know Mindy, like my old coach, when she did fitness, when she first started in fitness, they had 4 rounds. So you had the 2-piece bikini round, like we still do. You had a 1-piece bikini round. So you had 2 different bikini rounds. And then you actually had 2 different routines. You did a 1.5 to 2 minute routine, however you want. So kind of like what we do now. But then you also had a 60-second catsuit routine. So by catsuit, what it meant was all the girls wore this like black catsuit. So it was like this skin tight, long sleeve pant kind of suit. So everyone looked the exact same, and you had 60 seconds to perform like the mandatories and make it kind of your own. But they had 2 routines they had to train for and compete.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Guys, please go to
threeog.shop.
Go to threeog.shop and purchase your book now. This book doesn't only have Ted's recipes on there, you can create your own. It even tells you about the utensils you need to be using. It says macros, fats, carbohydrates, sugars. It says it all. There's too much to list. So please go to threeog.shop. What's that?
threeog.shop.
Get your book now.
Wow. Like I said, I did not know that, but kind of thinking about it, little visions of that is popping up. So
yeah,
we're going to go back to Olympia in a sec, but why did you take a year off after such a go for it in 2022?
I know. So part of me, like, I realized, one, I need to let my body rest. Like, I knew at that point, like, I had been pushing hard, and being in school too, like, it was a lot. I was not sleeping enough. Like, it was like I was up at 4 a.m. to drive to the gym, do an hour of cardio, then I'd have class at 8 a.m. Go through a whole day of classes, back to the gym. Like, I was sacrificing a lot, which I love this sport. So it wasn't really a sacrifice to me, but there were other areas of my life that I also needed to put emphasis on afterwards. But I also, I knew my body needed the rest. I needed to let my body rest in order to have more progress later on. But 2, I need to make some improvements. I need to work on my physique. A lot of these girls they're big girls. So I wanted to make sure I was putting in the work on my physique. Also the routine as well, but my routine is my strong suit. So the area that I lack in the most is I need to catch up to a lot of these athletes physique wise. A lot of the girls I'm competing against are 10 plus years older than me. They have a lot more muscle maturity, a lot more time in the gym. So I need to put that work in myself. And you can't make crazy gains when you're constantly depleted and on low food and whatnot. So
no, you can't.
Yeah. So I knew I needed to put some work in, and that way I could come back a little bit stronger. So
2023, have a rest, regroup, get bigger, stronger, new coach, sit back, do the comp. Again, you mentioned something about this being the last competition being the naturals, right? And we've had a variety of different athletes on here. We've talked about PEDs, PEDs, whatever you want to call them, your performance center. I mean, I can, to be honest, I assume everyone's on the drugs, by the way. So, I'm sorry to say it. Once upon a time, I could assume everyone wasn't. I'm like, I look at anyone, I go, he's on the drugs, he's on the drugs, she's on the drugs, he's on the drugs, they're on the drugs. But surprisingly, I'm getting more and more surprised. And actually, I love it. When I see some, I mean, I don't care. I keep mentioning I did do a cycle when I was 50. I've never done a cycle in my life. To be honest, it was so good to do one. I'll tell you why. It made me realize the work you need to do as a natural competitor. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, there's nothing even to take a supplement or to take a substance, the work involved, the diet, the food, the exercise, that nothing changes there. I guess you just become a bit stronger. Which makes you pick up heavier weights that you never believed you could, which in turn breaks down the muscle and builds it bigger. And I guess recovery. I mean, I remember, I'll tell you something. I pulled a hamstring, I think, muscle, and I was good after. I was back in 4 days. It was like, I mean, I did go light, but it was like a recovery so quick that it was hilarious. But I also know, for me, I know the saying less is more, but once you're in it, you think you need more, and you start to really start playing with fire. And I found that thinking going from this milligram to that milligram was going to make things better, but actually it was backfiring on me. So, and going for too long. It wasn't a long cycle. It was like 6 months, 3 months on, or whatever weeks on. But yeah, I mean, my kids ask me, which is, I never lie. So my kids go, have you ever taken steroids? And I looked at my son, I said, don't ask me questions like that now. Ask me before I was 50. And I would have said no. but
it's too funny.
But it is good to talk about it, because it's not so much about encouraging him to do it. He's 17. But I just said to him, if you're ever thinking about it, just come and see me. We'll talk about it. And I'm no expert, but you'll be surprised what I learned and how I went about it. I'm very methodical and also very science-based. So I really calculated everything was to understand how it all works. But talk about natural.
Yeah, it does make it challenging. I'm not gonna lie. And it's crazy. A lot of people just assume, like, even like I've had people just assume that I'm on stuff just because I'm in the sport of bodybuilding.
Yes.
It's a stigma, because a lot of people don't realize what you can achieve with hard work.
Yeah.
Like, they'll see a picture of me on stage and they'll be like, oh, she's on something.
Yeah, I'd say that.
And I take it as a compliment, because I'm like, wow, like, thank you. But no, like, it's just a lot of hard work, and it is possible. Now, again, the photos on stage, you're also at your peak. You've been dieting for months. You've done a lot of work. You have the tan. You're under the bright lights. You look a lot bigger than you actually are. Like my Olympia photos, I look pretty big, but I was like, I think 118 pounds. Like, I was just this tiny shrunken. If you saw me in clothes that, like, the morning of the show, I looked like this tiny little human. So,
going into Olympia, besides these shows, I mean, look, like I said, it's an open conversation, and we can edit everything, but maybe we won't. But the thing is, you're going in natural, correct?
Yeah, I am lifetime natural now.
How do you, I want to know this question, because that's what stopped me from competing, because I didn't want to take the juice, let's call it. And that gave me the ticket out, which is shit, because if we all believe to reach Olympia status, or to reach any status, that we need to take drugs, I mean, that's a shame. I mean, you should be able to take drugs whether you want to compete or not. I'm not condoning drugs, but what I'm trying to say is, it's not about that, is it? It takes your will, your determination, and put on a show. Because some of the people that have won lately in Australia, they're all natural as well, which is incredible. So that's why I guess this podcast has been, to me, also, like I said, I don't care. It's been that you're on. If anyone's on drugs, good on you, and I'm happy for you. But I'm actually really excited when I hear the natural part. I'm going, wow, you got there with that.
Yeah, it's actually growing. Like, even in Canada, like the amateur streams, we have a natural stream and we have an open stream, and the natural stream is growing immensely, and it's so awesome. And I think it's because if you look at the Olympia nowadays and some of these open shows, it's getting more and like it's just leveling up. Like it's getting more extreme. So athletes are seeing
unattainable. Some of it's unattainable,
Fully.
and not even when we say unattainable, it's like unattainable that to get to that level, the food, the diet, the sacrifice, the sponsorships, the cost of getting to that level. That's why it's not easy. But I guess what you're saying is people are loving the opportunity to push the limits, to get on that stage, to see what they're really about, and now that they believe they can do it with their resources.
Exactly. And that's the thing is, the show I just did, the Ben Weider Naturals, that's an Olympia qualifier. So these athletes who are natural, it's one show a year where you have this ticket to get to the Olympia as a natural competitor. It might be hard once you're on that stage against a lot of people who are open, but you still got to that stage. And then for my category, fitness, because I've been on the Olympia stage as a natural athlete, I know a lot of other fitness girls who are also natural who have competed on the natural the Olympia stage. We kind of have a little bit of leeway because only 1/3 of our marks are based off of physique. 2/3 is based on our routine. So our judging is a little bit different in the sense that if my physique isn't crazy, as long as my routine is good enough, it might make up for the physique kind of thing. So
yeah, I like I said to you, it's the build up on this podcast has been incredible, and you guys and you athletes, and I'm 54 and I'm excited, and because it's actually put wind in my sails to, like I said before the podcast I was eating, I'm back to 5 meals a day. I'm weighing my food. I told everyone, fuck off weighing. I'm back to weighing my food. I'm doing everything I told everyone, fuck off to. I'm doing. I'm journaling. Visualization. Oh my God, you got. It's a complete road show in the morning with me. It is.
You can accomplish so much as a natural athlete. Like,
That's
the thing is, sometimes people jump on stuff too soon before they've even reached their natural potential. Like a lot of young kids, like push yourself, see what you can accomplish naturally, because that's where all the growth comes from. You learn about your body, you learn how it responds and how it grows. And there's so many different techniques just in the gym alone that you can implement to push your body further and further and past its barriers. But yeah, so
I also believe as well, I think besides you saying people taking things too early in the piece or even needing to or whatever, I think as well, you can correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm seeing lately is I also think people are getting on stage too early. I think, hear me out. I'm not saying I've trained for 30 years and I don't think I'm ready for stage. But what I do know is I can lean out and be muscular. Some people don't understand losing weight and being skinny, because I've seen bigger Ethiopians sometimes. In other words, it's a different thing when it takes time to build muscle, meaning and then you've got to have an off season, call it a bulking up time, where you're still kind of lean. Someone said it, the mechanic said, how do you know how to bulk up? Like, how fat do you become? And he goes, well, look, if you can't see your abs, you've gone too far. But if you can see light bits of your abs, just something there, you're bulking up perfectly. You know what I mean? So it's a good indicator. It's a good indicator. So I think also people are healthy to keep the business healthy. I think if you are wanting to go on stage, work towards, I think, like a 2-year, if you've never been and looking, if you've trained and you're muscular and you're, mate, go on in the next show in the next 12 weeks, do whatever, 20 weeks. But what I'm alluding to is if bodybuilding's, you're entering it, you really want to do it, you're young, just remember there's a process, I think, to pushing aside the fat to bring in the muscle, for the muscle to grow so the fat around it can be depleted back, so then that muscle's showing off. That's what I think anyway.
Yeah. The other big component I think people need to realize, especially because I think, especially with social media, bodybuilding's growing. And you're getting a lot of young people who want to jump in it. And I love that it's this big phenom, and there's a lot more, like even in my local gyms, I'm seeing a lot more high school kids joining the gym, and I love it. I love that fitness is the cool thing. But the thing with bodybuilding, and the reason why I love it so much too, is it's one thing where you're not going to get immediate gratification.
No.
Right. And we're in this age where we have cell phones. Like you can look up something on the, like this, you have all these resources at your fingertips. With bodybuilding, it's this lifelong journey, and it is this long process of patience and hard work, and there's no beating around the bush. Yes, there's drugs, whatnot, but you can take a drug, but if your diet training's not on point,
right, forget it.
You're not going to progress. So, and that
sitting on the couch doesn't get you anywhere.
Exactly. So it's those years put in and not giving up and realizing, okay, maybe I didn't win this show this time around. That doesn't mean I'm not going to win the next one, or maybe I'm like excelling 5 years from now, but I'll never know if I quit right now. You've got to keep pushing past your boundaries, keep growing as an athlete and a person. And that's what I love about the sport, is like, it's this journey of growth and just learning about yourself. And just growing. So
I just laugh with not only social media, just something you brought up, but even some of the kids at the gym. I'll tell you, some of them, I look at them and they're all got their phones out, their mates, and they're all doing these poses in front of the mirror, like, because they're in their singlets showing their shoulders. And I'm looking and going, what the fuck can they see? There's nothing there.
Oh,
I don't want to say anything to them. I love them. I trust me. I love anyone in the gym I fall in love with, because I know what it takes to be in there. It's a different world. It's our people. It's our people in this gym. It's not an overnight success place. It is a place where most people come in battered and bruised. Something's going on in their lives. You know, we're all somehow victims in there, and we're trying to find a way out, or we try to get away from life, and in the gym we get away from it.
Yes.
But like I said, I look at them sometimes and I go, I don't see it, man. The double bicep. What's going on? What are we looking at here? What are we looking at?
5 years.
But I do love when I see, like, sometimes I see kids, a year later, and they come in the gym and I go, wow, what a change, man. And they got the bros and the girls. Everyone's broing around, and I love watching the bros. What do you call the girls? Broesses? But it's always good to watch people understand. Sometimes the bodybuilding world is a gang too. We're kind of a gang, you know what I mean? Like, so like I said, I think, so to go back to the story is, I think in competing as well, we need to make sure, I think competitions need to be mindful, just because everyone wants to sign up. I think there should be like a questionnaire, and whatever I'm saying is or you're going to shoot the sport in the foot, because if we allow everyone to get on stage just because they're paying an entry fee, and we see Ethiopians bigger and more muscular, the Ethiopians, we've got to be careful. We just got to be careful that it doesn't become as well, because I have suffered, I believe, what do you call it, with food. I think I became too addicted to eating lean, which became a problem, I believe, in a short time. But thankfully, sorry, was that? Eating disorder. I had an eating disorder, but definitely I was wiping the cream off the chicken, like the gravies. I was going to Christmas parties and I just suss everything out carefully, like, you know what I mean? So, and that was, we're talking about, that's 365 days in a year doing that, because I wanted to be ripped. So sure, it's paid dividends now, but thankfully it didn't destroy me. But we just have to be careful who goes on stage, and we don't start looking at anorexia, because I worry about that too.
For sure. And it's a very extreme sport, and you do have to make sure you're in a mentally good spot. It's a phenomenal sport, and it can do you wonders as an individual in terms of, again, growing and learning about yourself. But again, it can be very easy to get into that obsessive, and we are obsessive.
Yeah,
especially like I like to compete a lot, so I'll compete multiple shows per year. So I'm sacrificing a lot. Like sometimes I'll avoid going out with friends just because I don't want to be up too late, because I don't want to sacrifice my sleep or whatnot. But the past probably 2 years, I've gotten a lot better, where I'm like, no, like I can't sacrifice everything. Like, yeah, obviously close to the show, I'm zoned
Yeah.
in. But
Yeah.
I can still, even though I'm on diet, I can still go out with my friends. I just bring my meal with me. Like ways around it.
I've done both extremes, and they're both extremes where you don't give a shit and you've gone too far giving a shit. And I think that's an Aussie. We say give a shit, by the way. The thing is, I think you just got to be in and you got to be out. You got to be in, you got to be out, and you got to find a holding pattern. And I think the holding pattern is really where you want to be. But like I said, that's why I think with the shows, we just got to, like I said, it's amazing. And I love what I'm seeing and the amount of people going on stage. And some people, I think you shouldn't be on stage, but wow, I applaud the courage and the thing. But I just think sometimes you've got to be careful. Sorry?
I was just saying, it takes a lot to get up on that stage and go through that process.
It does. But I have seen lately some people on stage and people winning. And I think, I can't, just because you're ripped to the bone, to me isn't kind of how I see bodybuilding. I still see a very full, like I still see a bit of what's it called, the European look, where you've got a bit of the olive oil look on the face. You still look alive. Yeah, you know what I mean. I know we're depleted. It's called the death face, but like I said, it's more like like I said, we just got, I think it's great. Everyone's getting involved, but I just think we've got to make sure it doesn't come to the point where everyone's unrealistic and then it starts to fall over.
Yeah. Because one thing I've seen a lot of, because I've volunteered at a lot of shows, I've obviously competed at a lot of shows too. With the way that the NPC and the CPA, that's Canadian stream, but it's the same as the NPC. It's basically, it's set up as you have a regional show, top 3 at the regional show qualify to nationals. So I've seen a lot of athletes who absolutely dominate at a regional show. They win the overall. They look awesome. They're on this high, and they're qualified to nationals now. They go into nationals. They're thinking they're going to get their pro card like this, and they go into a nationals and they don't even make first call outs, or they don't get their pro card, and they're just devastated and they beat themselves up. And it's like, again, we're going back to this what we talked about before, where it's this journey. Like there are athletes that are taking them 10 years to get their pro card.
100%.
Like, put the time and the work in. Not everyone gets their pro card first try. Like, so it's just making sure, again, that making sure your mentality's there and not beating yourself up. It's a learning experience every single time. You take the feedback, you take the criticism, and you put in the work. And you need to develop that thick skin in this sport, because not every judge is gonna one show you might do really well, another show you might bring the same physique and you might do worse. Like, it just depends on who's there, who the judge is. So you got to go in every show just focusing on beating yourself, being happy with the package you brought, because at the end of the day, that's all you can control. You can't control what the judges think. You can't control who shows up. All you can do is control bringing your best self to that stage and being happy and proud of what you brought.
Yeah, no, like I said to you, it's bodybuilding's changed a lot. The competition's changed a lot. It's amazing the way the spectacle I think it's growing and growing, getting bigger and better and better and better. And I think it's definitely becoming a circus Olay. It's becoming something, like quite theatrical. And I think they're doing a great job. And I think it's only fair. Like I said, I just think myself, I'm just saying, just to make sure, making sure they've got all the welfare checks in place for everybody in there. Everyone's encouraging each other, talking to each other the right way, making sure, because, depleting with oneself, dieting, we're not saved by the end of it.
For sure. And I can't speak on behalf of the other categories, but the fitness category, we are all very close. And from what I've experienced so far, it is a very incredible community of athletes. Like, we have a Facebook page with all the fitness pros. We all communicate, we all keep in touch. And every show I've done, it's been very supportive. Most people encourage you, you're cheering each other on. So it's a phenomenal environment, phenomenal atmosphere to be in.
Well, the bodybuilding is what I know as well. You won't make it in the sport. Let me tell you. I tell you what, you won't make it in the gym if you don't like telling someone they look good, because you're not going to make it. Because we all walk in and go, "Hey man, you look really good. Wow." Like, "Hey, do you want a hand? Do you want a spot, man?" Like, if you're not into that, you're not gonna excel in our sport because and that's not even on stage. That's just the way the gym culture is.
Well,
like
it's the camaraderie, right? Like you have respect for each other because you know what work is put in, and like everyone's just on this same mission, and it's just, I don't know, we're all healthy, fit, like everyone's doing things for their health, for their betterment. And I don't know, I just love the fitness atmosphere, whether it's in a gym, whether it's at a bodybuilding competition. It's in like indescribable atmosphere, indescribable energy. It's just contagious. It's awesome.
It is. So tell us about Vegas. Tell us about Olympia now.
Oh.
Like, you got the tracksuit. Everyone gets the tracksuit. Everyone gets what they do, and you're turning up, and there's, C-bum over there, and there's so-and-so over there, and there's that bikini girl over there, and there's Hardy. I think was it with Hardy? I'm not too sure.
With Hardy, yeah.
Hardy, yeah. Like, what was it like seeing these people in person? And tell us the whole experience. And was it a goal of yours? Did you believe it? You got there? Like,
yeah. So, okay, it's crazy. And I think I've talked on another podcast about this, but when I first started bodybuilding back in 2017, so when I first met Mindy, and we started prepping for my very first competition, I researched bodybuilding like crazy. Like, not every fitness video I could find, just every, like, even just all the other categories. I just became obsessed with the sport in general. I fell in love with it. But as I was prepping for that first show, and after I competed at my very first show, I was like, I am going to be at the Olympia before the age of 25. That was my goal. And I believed that. I was like, and at the time I was 19. So I was 19 at the time. I was like, I think I can get there before I'm 25. And it was pretty cool because when I competed back in 2022, I was 24. Yep. So I accomplished that goal. So that was really, really huge for me. But I believed it from day one. I didn't tell anybody. My coach knew. I think my family knew, and that was about it. I kind of kept it quiet because obviously that's a very big statement to make. But I kept it to myself. I believed it. Like we talked about the envisioning.
Did you keep it to yourself? I keep things to myself because I feel when I talk about it, I don't know why, I become deflated. I feel like I've let the cat out of the bag, and I need that superpower that no one knows I've got. And if I open up, I go, oh, fuck, forget it now. I've spoken about it.
Yeah, no, 100%. But it's also the fact that you also got to be careful who you tell, because not everyone wants the best for you. And some people you'll tell and they'll be like, you're crazy, like that. And then when they say something like that, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, like, am I dreaming too big kind of thing? And you never want to feel that way. No. So unless it's somebody that 100% believes wholeheartedly in you and knows that you can accomplish it, I keep those things quiet to myself.
I'll tell you a funny story here. I'll tell you, there was a guy that did some seminars. Whenever he was a public, his name was Marcusetta. He was very good, but he told me a story about at the time he was married, but it was his ex-wife, and he said the story about she made it to become a dancer. She got a scholarship. And she was so excited that she got approved for this amazing dance school, college, whatever it was called. She raced home. She wanted to tell someone about it.
Yeah.
And she walked in, and it was her mum's boyfriend at the time.
Okay.
And he was an alcoholic. And, well, she didn't really get on with him either. So she thought she'd tell him. And he said to her, what kind of idiotic career is that? Like, what are you going to become in life? What are you going? And she never did it. He killed her dream. He called them dream stealers, right? Dream stealers. So, but what I'm alluding to, it's true. We think we can tell everyone, but when you walk in a room, you've got to scout it like you're the Terminator. You got to go like, when the screen comes up and says, no, that person's a loser, or no, not loser, fuckwit. Yeah. And you can't tell that person. No, that person's negative. That person's positive. You can tell them. Okay, I'll tell them. You know what I mean?
It's true, because you don't want, energy is a big thing, and you want to surround yourself with people with similar energy, or people that are going to uplift you. But even sometimes, like, if it's a really big dream, even some people you think,
oh my God, be careful. That's what you need. You need the Terminator screen in your head go telling you who that person is.
Yeah, exactly. So some things I just like to keep to myself, because like you said, it's like that superpower. It's like, I'm really the only person that I need in my life to believe. Like obviously, yes, it's great when you have somebody believe in you, but I think you have to believe in yourself the most. Like that's the most important person to believe in yourself is yourself. That makes sense.
Well, I went and bought property overseas one time, and I didn't tell nobody. And then my dad said to my wife at the time, he goes, "Where's Steve?" She goes, "He's in New Zealand." He goes, "What's he doing there?" He goes, "He's buying property." Anyway, I knew if I told him, he'll go, "Why are you going there?" But when I bought it and came back, he goes, "Oh man, you're very smart." I knew, like, why tell him? I'll just come back with property. I came back, he goes, "Wow, look at you." I said, "Yeah, man, look at me. Like, what can I do? I can't tell you. If I told you, it'd be hell getting there."
Exactly. So you save it, you accomplish it, and then there you go. Then you announce it, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. So Olympia, the whole thing, building up to it, getting there, was it everything you thought? Was it?
It was everything and more. Like,
oh wow.
My biggest goal going in was that I wanted to be completely present. I didn't want to just like not experience it fully, if that makes sense. I wanted to make sure I was present, enjoying every single moment.
Yeah. I wrote that. You said that you wanted to be present. You wanted to go slow.
Yes, and just enjoy it all and take it all in. So, and I did that. So I made sure like I attended as much as I could, experienced the whole thing, from the seminar to like we had our athlete meeting where we got our tracksuit and
I know.
yeah, like just the whole competition day, Friday, getting like chatting with all the girls. Like a lot of these girls I've looked up to for years. Like I got to share the stage with girls who when I very first started, cool story. So when I very first started, I told you I researched every YouTube video I could find on fitness routines just to see what the fitness division was all about. And the very first routine I ever watched was Ariel Kadar at the Toronto Pro Super Show. And I remember watching her routine and I was like, holy crap, this girl is badass and I want to be like her. Like I want to do this. This is what I want to do. And it was so cool because we've become good friends and I got to share the stage with her for the first time at the Olympia. And like that just meant the world to me because she's one athlete who I've looked up to my entire bodybuilding career. Not just her, there's others like Missy Truscott, Oksana was there. She had to pull out unfortunately just prior, but there was a lot of athletes there that I got to meet and share the stage with that I've looked up to for years. So it was really cool to kind of come full circle and just be on stage with the best in the world.
I know. What was it like? I guess Vegas was correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was the first real comp after COVID, I guess. Yes. And it seems like the Olympia's gone another notch up. It's really become a spectacle. So what was it like meeting Hardy, who became Mr. Olympia? When you met him in person, was it like, yeah, I can see this guy, no wonder he's
it was cool. Like I got to meet so many like
I thought you were not far from C-Bum as well, you were quite close on stage.
So when I watched the seminar, or the conference, I ended up I went and watched with Mindy, like my coach at the time, and we were front row. So like I was sitting, president was in that row of the Olympian, and then like C-Bum, like he walked up on the stage. I'm like, oh my God, you're right there.
What was it like seeing C-Bum? Everyone's talking about the C-Bum.
Yeah. I mean, you see all these people on social media, right? So and he's a fellow Canadian, but I've never actually met him in person, but it was cool to just see him in his element, see him up on stage too, because I competed Friday, but I went and watched the Saturday night finals, which is when Classic competed, which was cool to so it was really cool because I got to perform the Friday night, but then I got to be in the different perspective and be in the audience Saturday night. And that was my first Olympia that I even watched. Like I've never even gone to watch before. So to compete at my first one, but then also to get to experience and watch, was really cool. And like you said, the spectacle that they put on now, because it was the first one back in Vegas since COVID, the lights, everything, because
it's a road show. It's an amazing show.
And so pre-judging was in a different location. So it was at a different, it was at the Venetian Hotel in Vegas, right in the expo. So that was kind of cool. But the final stage was in Zappos Theater, and only the top 10 athletes in every division got to go to finals, with the exception of fitness, because fitness, we have to do our routines at finals. We do our physique round and pre-judging. all the athletes have to do their routines in finals because that's 2/3 of our mark. So all the fitness girls got to experience that final stage in Zappos.
Wow.
And that, let me tell you, that stage, the pre-judging stage was cool because it was just, holy crap, I'm at the Olympia. But the final stage, that is the biggest stage I've ever competed on. Like, and then just standing on that stage and just you look out and it's just like, whoa, like that is a big audience. There's bright lights, like smoke on the stage. Like I watched my video back and there's like smoke while it like, and it's just the whole thing. Like it was just unreal. Like I was on cloud 9. Like the whole
so you're telling me that even though you get to prejudging, not everyone gets to experience the final stage.
No.
Even just to sit and watch it and go and be a part of it.
No.
Like the top 10.
Only the top 10 actually get to go compete at finals.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, besides they can go sit in the crowd if they've got tickets and there's room.
They can go to the crowd, but they can't even get on. I don't even think they can go backstage
to touch on that. You are very blessed. You are very lucky.
And that's what like I was thinking, because I was like, I'm blessed because yeah, obviously the Olympic experience alone, whether you get on that final stage or not, is amazing. But I was just grateful because I was like, holy crap, I got to experience the stage and a lot of
stage. Were you nervous?
You know what? I actually was like, I don't know if it's because I've been competing so long or I've taken the pressure off myself. When I was an amateur, I would get nervous a lot because I would put so much pressure on getting the pro card that I missed so much enjoyment and being in the moment for a lot of my shows. And that's why like now I talk about being present and making sure I'm enjoying and being in the moment, because I missed out on so many of those competitions because I was so focused on this end goal that I wasn't enjoying the process. It wasn't until the show I actually got my pro card at, I kind of changed my mindset. I went into that show and I was like, no, we're going to enjoy it. Remember my why I want to do, like why I love doing this so much, and just go out and perform, have fun, be in the moment. That was the show I ended up getting my pro card. And that's kind of the mindset I've kept ever since. So when I was at the Olympia, especially because it was my first one, I was like, I have no pressure. Like, I'm just going to go out, have fun, enjoy it, put on a show. Like the routine round's my strength. So I'm just going to go put on a show for everyone and do my best and just enjoy it. So I kind of took the pressure off. Now, again, you get the adrenaline. And I remember right before they called my name, I was like, here we go. Like, here we go.
Oh God, I can only imagine, because I've never been like, I don't think it's been a long time since I think to that experience of a crowd in front of you and they're waiting for your routine. I mean, that's just like a soccer final, the NFL or whatever it might be. So incredible stuff. I mean, because people would be watching this podcast and wondering, growing up, what were you like? What did you want to become? Because you're a chiropractor, aren't you?
Yeah. So my journey. So I'm not a chiropractor yet, but in a year and a half, I will be.
Okay. Yeah. Of course.
No, I'm in school for it, but so growing up, I was always pretty athletic. Like I was a high-level gymnast for most of my life. So solid 8 years competitive. I did gymnastics, so all the way till grade 12. I also ran track and field from grade 9.
Sporty kid.
Yeah, so I was always the individualistic sports. So like the gymnastics, the track. I did hurdles and pole vault. After high school, I stopped gymnastics. I actually went away to university and I ran track first year university. So I did varsity track for a year and then kind of realized I was like, track isn't fulfilling me the way that gymnastics did. Like, it was still fun. I loved it. It was a good challenge, but it wasn't challenging enough. So that was kind of the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to try this bodybuilding thing. Cause I'd had a few people reach out to me and say, you should do this. You should try this. I had a few friends who competed that I met in the gym and they were like, you should try it. So we got into bodybuilding. So I started, so my second year university, that's when I did my first show. I got my Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology. So that's what I did for the first 4 years of my undergrad. And then from there, went into chiropractic school. So I'm getting my doctorate in chiropractic as well as my master's in anatomy right now. So I'll graduate in May 2025. That's when my graduation date is set for. So we're getting there.
No, that's congratulations.
Thank you. But,
I don't know
this,
how you do it though. I don't know how anyone does study, compete, even live life.
there's not much missing.
I find it hard to live life.
It's I sacrifice a lot, that's for sure. Like it's a lot of, I basically eat, sleep, train, study, repeat, work as well. So I gotta
Yes.
feel, or this is an expensive sport too. So
Yeah.
I do make time to like have time with friends and family. It's just not very frequently. So that's the little bit of the sacrifice right now, but it'll pay out in the long run. I know that. I do love what I do. I love bodybuilding, and yes, it's time consuming. I do train a lot, especially the fitness division. We have a whole other element we need to train for. It's not just the physique, the weightlifting and the cardio and the diet, the food prep, but you also have this routine. You got to train skills and maintain flexibility and all this stuff. So it is a lot of hours in the gym, but I love it, and it's worth it.
Yeah, it is. And look, I guess I felt like I really didn't finish off with Olympia. When it finished, how long did it take to come down from cloud 9?
Oh,
How long did it take? Did it take till you got into 2023? Like, were you still?
yes.
Were people coming up to you saying, where Christmas Day, where are you staring? You're looking out the window and we don't know what you're staring at. And you're like, no, I'm just coming down from Olympia.
No, that's so me. Honest, I'll still get people who ask me about it, and I'm like, holy crap, I did that. Like, it's still like I've registered it, like I've reflected on it, like I fully processed it. But sometimes like it'll come up, and I just think, I'm like, holy crap.
Are we
like,
going back? Are we going back?
Oh, that's the goal. 2024
I
is
know.
the goal. So we need to qualify.
Is it different now? Like, are you trying not to put pressure on yourself?
I'm always going to make sure that I'm having fun doing it. Like that is always number one. But I am competitive, and now I'm like, I have this fire lit, and I'm like, I need to get back, and I want to do better. Like I want to place back. I want to climb the ranks. Like
I'm hearing the Rocky theme in the background. I'm hearing Rocky music now. You know? I'm picturing this girl in Canada, similar to Russia, running in the snow and picking up wheelbarrows and doing chin-ups in a barn.
Oh, I love it. I love it. No, but that's the mentality though. Like I'm always, even though having fun and all that is number one, and just getting to the Olympia stage is like, I'm always grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get back, and I want to place higher. Like that's just the competitive edge in me. I'm like, ultimately at the end of the day, as long as I'm showing up my best and I'm bettering myself, I will be happy. But we're always aiming high, and we're always going to be.
Oh, I love it. I tell you what, I thought, yeah, you guys. I tell you, I'm on notice with you people. Every time I finish with you, I go, I'm on notice. I got to start getting more motivated myself. So what did you come in this comp that you just did? Only, just now. How did you go? What did you come? I guess everyone's going to ask that question.
Yes. So I ended up getting third.
Nice.
Obviously I was going in to win, like that was my goal.
When do you ever not? When do you ever not?
Exactly. But I was really happy with how it panned out. I pretty much executed the routine exactly how I wanted to. Maybe one or two skills I could have executed a little bit better, but that's things that more so I would only notice.
But you also did some changes. I mean, you got a new coach, you changed your diet. You probably were even still questioning yourself, why did I change coaches? Why am I eating like this? So you weren't really you hadn't kind of surrendered to yourself. You're still
Yeah. But no, like it was the hardest routine I've done today. I executed it really well. So I was really happy with the routine round. Physique round, like I said, it was a whole new experience with this new coach. It was, I'm used to showing up more of the like really, really lean, but I lose a little bit of my shape. So I'm just tight and tiny. This time around was much different. I was a little bit more full, a little softer. So I wasn't as lean. But when I was going into that show, and I even told my coach this, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be ready. Like, I feel like, because I'm so used to seeing myself very shredded. So even going in, like, it wasn't until like the couple days leading up where he was really depleting me and peaking me, I'm like, holy crap, I'm starting to see these changes. And then we loaded, and just seeing the physique come to life, and his whole peaking process, I was like, okay, like I see what you're doing there. And then it wasn't until I saw the comparison photos on stage, I was like, whoa, yeah, like I brought like a bigger, fuller physique, and I ended up placing top 3, like, because they move you according to like your placing. So I got moved into the center 3, not center, but like just on the outside of center. So I was top 3 in the physique round, which I was not expecting going in, especially because I was questioning, am I ready physique wise? So that was probably the highlight of the show for me, because again, I wasn't expecting top 3 in the physique round. So after that pre-judging round, I was like on cloud 9. I was like, holy crap, like that felt really good. I got top 3 in the physique round. The routine round is my strong suit. Like that's where I usually do very well in. It's 60% of our mark. So I was like, I might have a really good shot at taking this. But there was some really good girls that competition. I was really happy. So Michelle, she ended up winning the show. If anyone were to take it, I was glad it was her. She is an extremely hard worker. She just missed the Olympia 2022 by, like, there was still the points system back for 2022.
Yeah.
Missed it by 1 spot, and I was heartbroken for her because I think it was by like 1 point. So
when you say 1 point to be in the Olympia, or 1 point to win the Olympia?
To be in the Olympia. So back in 2022,
hard,
there was
isn't it?
there was this point system based on your placings throughout the year. You got points, and then the top 3 athletes with the most amount of points qualified to the Olympia. So she was in the 4th place position. And the tough part was there was one of the athletes in the top 3 points who had to pull out. But if somebody pulls out, it's not like somebody gets bumped up. So that's what made it even more like my heart broke for her even more back then. So all the fitness girls were pretty ecstatic for her this was her first pro win, her first Olympia qualification. So it was bittersweet. Obviously, like we all want to win. We all want to get that qualification. But to see her like finally get that dream of qualifying to the Olympia was pretty awesome to see. And I know I know that feeling of that first pro win, being on cloud 9. So I'm really happy for her. And obviously it's lit a fire in me. And I'm like, big season ahead for 2024. And the goal is to get that qualification to join her on that stage.
I'm looking forward to it. Now, also just a few more things. We talk about, say you're a dreamer, believer, manifester, visualization, achiever. Just looking at a few things. I think you posted something about 1111. What is this 1111 number? Everybody around the world, even myself, I learned this from my ex-wife too. 1111. Oh my God, it's angels. And tell me, do you have what? You got chimes going on? You got incense flowing? What's going on with this 1111 stuff? Tell us more about that quickly. And I'm going to get Chris to grab my journal because we're going to talk about journaling, and I feel like I can't journal for Jack.
Love to talk about that.
Blue book. It's just open there, Chris. No, just there. Coming this way. There. Yes. I don't know what the hell's journaling, so we're going to talk about that. But yeah, tell us about the angels.
Well, you've got like these angels.
Tell us about the angels.
The angels. You have these angels numbers, right? So like some people see 444 or 555, like all these numbers. And I just honestly, like most of my 2022 season, like I just kept seeing 1111, 111. Like it was like almost to the point where it got freaky. Like, and I'm not like huge into the numbers, but like it got to a point where I was like, holy crap.
You're posting it up, man.
I kept posting it because I was like, hey, it was funny because I didn't start initially when it first started to happen, when I kept seeing it like crazy. I wasn't even posting it because I was like, I don't want to come off like this like crazy person, but I would send it to my brother because my brother at the time, he lives in BC. So we live in different provinces. He was down at the time, and I just remember I kept seeing it. It was when he came down, I just all of a sudden started to see it like crazy. And I would send it when he went back home. I kept seeing more and more. So I would just send it to him, and he's like, "You're crazy. Like what's going on?"
But there is something about it.
Yeah, I think again, it comes back to this mental component, right? It's like this sign, and then it's like you see it, and it's like you're aware of it, so you see it more, and then it's almost like you're riding this cloud or like riding this high right up into this event, right? You keep seeing it. It's just like wow, this is a sign I'm headed in the right direction. Like things are going the way they're supposed to, right? So it's just another mental component, but you kind of become aware of these signs and these signals, whatever you want to call it. And it's just this other factor that adds light to push you and drive you and keep you going.
Most definitely. So tell me about you, like journaling. I'm trying to journal and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. All I just write. Where's the camera? There's a camera. All I write, I mean, you don't have to zoom it in, Chris. It's all good. But I just wrote, like, when was it? I wrote yesterday. I didn't journal today. I wrote more to do, stay true, focus more, relax more, believe more, know more, grateful. And the day before I went, encourage self, praise self, know oneself, be true, be open, be going forward. I mean, am I journaling right? What's that out of?
I love it. But that's the thing is there's no right way, right? Like it's just writing down your thoughts and whatnot. Like I still want to journal more. Like ever since I got started school, I still journal.
Well, what is it about journaling? Just tell us why. What is it about journaling? What should everyone know about it? And give us a quick why.
Okay, so I'll first state like how I utilize it right now, because I want to use it more. But what I do right now is the night before, what I'll usually do is I'll make a checklist of like what I want to do the next day. So almost like I'm already setting up my day to come, what I need to get done, what I need to accomplish. And then throughout that day, I'll jot down, maybe make a few notes, what went right, what went wrong, blah, 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 that sort of thing. But I keep it pretty brief. But for shows, I do a lot more journaling. So leading up into competitions, I might start like a couple days out every day leading up, or maybe it's just the day before. I'll talk about how I'm feeling, how this prep has been going, just reflecting how like all the little details.
Do you write down, I want to know, do you also write down struggles or you just write the good stuff?
Yeah, no, definitely struggles. Because I think that's important too, because you can learn from those, right?
Okay.
So I just write down, things that go wrong, things that go right, how I've overcome certain things. Like if I did struggle with something, was there something I did to kind of combat that or come back from that? And then like the day before the show, I'll write down my goals. I'll write down my prejudging goals. So physique wise, like what do I want to accomplish? Routine wise, what do I want to accomplish? Maybe some key words for certain skills. Make sure I'm landing chest up on this skill, or make sure I'm smiling in my push up. Like just those little goals that I want to be mindful of. And then the biggest component that I do is I wait a couple days after the show, once I've kind of settled down, once I've collected my thoughts, and I do this long post-show reflection. I think reflecting, it's something we as humans don't do enough of.
I don't do it.
Yeah, it's not just competition. It's in life in general. It's reflecting on business goals. It's reflecting on relationships. It's reflecting on everything, because that's how
I'm reflecting this week actually, because go on.
Yeah, no, but that's how you learn and you grow and but also it brings clarity whether you're on the right track, or am I stalling? Am I plateauing? Is this relationship healthy for me? Like, or am I just like, or business wise or career wise, am I just settling? Like, am I still growing? It's good to do these reflections. So post show, I do a massive reflection. What went right during the competition? What went wrong? What, like, maybe I ate something and I didn't like the way I felt. Maybe I was bloated. Now I have that written down in my journal. So next show comes around, I can look back at all these reflections. I'm like, okay, I'm going to avoid doing this because this didn't work in my favor. But this, when I implemented this tactic, it really helped me mentally. It really helped me physically. It really helped my physique pop, or whatever it is. And it's just, again, because you learn show to show. Every show is a different.
So do you go back and read your journal?
Yeah, I try to. I do. I try to, especially.
Let's start reading back my journal.
Because sometimes it can be beneficial, right? Like you might forget about something, like, holy crap, I forgot when I did this for this show. It might have been like, maybe it was the second show I ever did in my life, and this was years ago. I did this for this show and it really, really worked for me. I haven't done this in a couple shows. Maybe I should bring this back. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just, it's a good way, and like just to keep track of all those things and just to be mindful. And again, when you reflect on those things, you're growing, you're reflecting on that experience, and you're growing and learning and taking away from that experience, not just kind of going through the motions and just forgetting about it. Right. So I think it's crazy because I have a psychology for health class right now.
Yeah.
He talked about like recently about reflection and how humans don't do enough reflecting. But it's so crucial, so crucial. So
I think I need to reflect now, because I think the last few years, even telling Chris or people, I've just made some stupid moves. So I'm reflecting back to wonder, where wasn't I making stupid moves, and maybe copying that mindset or that discipline or that going in that direction than that direction. Because sometimes people think constantly, you believe fun is accumulation, but sometimes fun is sacrifice. And I think my goal at the moment is to sacrifice is going to be fun rather than to accumulate to be fun. Yeah.
Crazy.
It is crazy. It's crazy. So tell us about 4 pairs of shoes, mate. What the hell? You got your routine shoes, you got your sprint shoes, you got your Stairmaster shoes, you got your
oh my gosh, that's
posing shoes.
Close.
I know. What the
That's hilarious. So it's actually
do we
funny.
really need that many shoes?
Yeah. So it's funny because I literally I walk into the gym every day and there's sometimes I can't even zip up my bag because it's just overflowing of I've got my weightlifting belt, my knee sleeves, my Versa grips for back day. There's just so much in there, and I have shoes for everything. They're posing because you go in the gym and some days I'm training my routine, I'm weightlifting, especially because my drive's 30 minutes. Sometimes I'm okay, I'm gonna do my routine practice, I'll pose, I'll take a break and eat, and then I'll go back in and I'll do my weights, and then that way I save an extra drive out later on. I've done that.
Wow. I just think, I'm turning up with slides on now. What are you talking about? I got socks and slides on now. Everyone's turning up with slides. No one's wearing shoes anymore.
But the funny thing is sometimes I will bring slides just because when I'm done at the gym, I just want to put a nice, quick, easy shoe on. So that way when I get home, I just kick them off. So sometimes it's I've got my weight training shoes. I've got my my heels, my fitness routine shoes. I've got my slides. If I'm doing sprints for cardio, which I didn't do this prep, but I have a different pair of shoes for sprints. It's just too many. And the funny thing is, I'm not a shoe person. I don't own a lot of pairs of shoes. It's just all my gym shoes. That's it.
Well, I saw it and you did post it, and I thought I better talk about it. Well,
hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Guys, please go to threeog.shop. Go to threeog.shop and purchase your book now. This book doesn't only have Ted's recipes on there, you can create your own. It even tells you about the utensils you need to be using. It says macros, fats, carbohydrates, sugars. It says it all. There's too much to list. So please go to threeog.shop. What's that?
threeog.shop.
Get your book now.
Coming to the end of the podcast, I want to go over the body. All right, we're going to go over the body. What we do here is I'm going to tell you a body part, and I just want you to choose an exercise, just an exercise, and sets and reps. Now, if you don't do the exercise, the body part, that's okay. Just say don't do it. But I'm sure someone out there would appreciate, is that what you do for that body part? So let's start. We start from the top here. So we start with traps. Do you train traps?
I try not to train traps.
All right, try not. That's right. Majority of people don't train traps. I'm just letting you know. I do, but I think I just can't let go of it. That's all.
Well, I know a lot of males will train traps because it is a part of the physique that kind of makes it.
You're going to lie. You're going to be surprised. Not many do now. No one trains traps anymore.
Okay. Well, I feel because you are activated in certain movements, but as a female, again, it depends on your category, but most categories, you don't want big traps as a female, especially my category, for figure or fitness, you want those nice round shoulders. If you have big traps, you're now taking away from those nice round shoulders.
100%.
So
100%.
we're trying not to activate those at all.
Well, since we're talking about shoulders, delts, tell us about what do you train for front delts?
Front delts, incline dumbbell press. Or even just shoulder press too, but I personally like to do just a slight incline.
Yep.
I find that is a great exercise to really help grow that front delt.
So how many sets and how many reps?
I would say for me, typically I would do 4 sets. Might start at 15 for like a warm up, but working up to sets of like 8. So like going a little bit heavier for 8. For this show leading up, we actually really modified my training just to help with recovery. And I was just doing 2 working sets of most of my things, which was the weirdest thing I've ever done, but it actually worked really well. So I would start with, say, like, I don't know, 1 exercise where we'd maybe do 3 sets just to kind of get warmed up. But once I was into my working set, so say like your incline dumbbell press, I was doing like 2 sets of 10. So I would go right to like heavier weights and just do 2 hard working sets, and just utilizing that energy in less volume, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. What about side delts?
I love side lateral raises.
Lateral raise, yeah.
Oh, that's my favorite. And there's so many different variations you can use to them. I personally just like with dumbbells. I love doing like a pyramid type scheme where I'll pick 3 sets of weights. I'll start at the lightest one. I'll do, say, 8 reps, go to the middle weight, 8 reps, go to the heaviest weight, 8 reps, and then work back down the ladder.
Wow.
That's a nice burnout set. Now, again, you got to be careful energy-wise, recovery-wise. So something like that, I might do just 2 or 3 sets. Might be something like for the end of end of a workout. Or we're just, again, doing our typical 3 to 4 sets of maybe like 10 to 12 for that exercise.
What about back delts?
Okay. So 2, I love just like a bent over rear delt fly with dumbbells, but the reverse pec deck.
Everyone's doing the reverse pec deck at the moment. Yeah.
You can get some really good tension under there. And I actually, who was it that did it? The Rock. Rock posted, and it's a set of 12 reps.
Yep.
But the first 4 reps, you're doing a 4-second eccentric. So you're going here, 4 seconds on the way down. So that's the first 4 reps. The middle 4 reps, you're doing a 4-second hold at the top. So you hold,
here we
hold,
go.
hold,
Yeah.
and then the last 4 reps, you're just normal speed.
Yeah.
So that is a killer one. So even just 3 sets of that.
3 sets of that. Okay. No, I like that. We haven't heard that one before. What about chest?
Chest. Again, something I don't do like crazy. Like I'll usually, so for my chest days, it's usually like a chest and shoulder day. So I'll do like 2 to 3 exercises of chest, finish off with some shoulders. I would say I love push-ups. Like, especially as a fitness competitor, I actually always start with plyo push-ups.
Yeah, push-ups.
Plyo push-ups I'll start with, because actually doing plyometric exercises before, so even like say squat jumps before you get into a leg workout, fires up the central nervous system and actually can prepare and help with your strength in your lift. So I'll actually always start with like maybe 3 or 4 sets of 5 of my like crazy fitness plyo push-ups.
Yep.
And then I'll get into my chest workout. Flies always feel really nice. Incline dumbbell press again, it's your front delt, but also your upper pecs as well. I love an incline dumbbell press.
No, I like it. We'll go with the push-ups. We haven't had push-ups for a while.
Are a staple. Like it's a body weight exercise, but they're underrated.
I tell you what, I don't think many people can get past 10 push-ups. I'm telling you.
See, as a fitness competitor, like we go hard on the push-ups. I'll do sometimes, like what I'll do is I'll start with 50 in a row, like 50 and just burn out. And then your pecs are so activated, then you're jumping into your strength lifts and you're ready to go.
Yeah, no. How many push-ups can you do, Chris? In one go. 40, 50? Yeah. Oh, didn't know that. I reckon. Yeah, no. At the moment, I think. Well, I don't know how many I'll do, but 10 sounds a lot. Back, training back.
Oh, I love back has always been one of my favorite things to train. I have to say your standard pull up, like wide grip pull up, whether it's like sometimes I like to do body weight. Sometimes I like to do assisted to just really slow it down and really active. Besides that, see, I hate just choosing one exercise. I have 2 others. Your typical lat pull down, never variation, and a straight arm cable push down. I love them. Those feel great.
I also like the close grip bend over rows. You know, when you do, I like a close grip bend over rows. It's always nice. How many sets and reps? Let's just quickly get that one in.
Like 3 to 4 sets of, depends. The pull-ups I'll probably aim for like 10. If it's assisted, maybe blast out a couple more. But for the push downs, I would say like I like to do like 4 sets of like 15, a little bit higher rep range. But the lat pull downs, I might be trying to pull a little bit heavier weight. So 3 to 4 sets of like 8 to 10. Maybe start higher reps, working down to that 8 to 10 rep range.
Okay. Bicep.
Biceps. My favorite exercise is your typical like single arm dumbbell curl. Love
Okay,
that
how many
one.
sets? How many sets, reps?
I usually do 3 to 4 sets of 15 each arm. So I go a little bit higher volume on that one.
That's all right. 15. Yeah, I get that one. Tricep.
Oof. Any cable push down. I love a cable push down
Yeah.
or a dip. Again, it's a little bit fitnessy, but because it's a body weight exercise. But yeah, usually a cable push down. I feel like you just get a great burn. Again, sets of like 15, honestly. Maybe working down to some heavier sets of like 10, but
I'll tell you which one I haven't seen people using, which I haven't doing, sorry. And I just did it a couple of days ago. Kickbacks.
oh yes,
Kickbacks are good, man.
Yeah.
You could pull a muscle doing kickbacks.
Honestly, I can't go very heavy on those. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, but kickbacks are good. They're great.
Yeah.
I like kickbacks. Abs.
Ooh, hanging leg raises
Mm.
are a good one, especially for us fitness girls, but also a cable crunch. So I'll
How
take
many sets and reps there?
hanging leg raises, I'll usually do like 3 sets of 10 to 15.
Yep.
For the cable crunches, I'll do 3 to 4 sets of 15 to 20.
Okay. Quads.
Oof. My favorite is pendulum squat.
Oh.
I love the pendulum. I don't know, like not all gyms have it. We finally have one that's somewhat locally for me that has it. So I'll go out with my friend sometimes because she has a membership at that gym, and we'll train together there. But pendulum, like, oh, it's just the mechanics of it. I used to love hack squat, but ever since I've used the pendulum, the mechanics of it it's just amazing.
It is amazing. How many sets and reps?
When I'm with my friend doing them, we'll go a little crazy. We'll do maybe 1 or 2 warm-up sets, and then we'll probably do 3 working sets where we're working up. We might start honestly at like 20 reps to really force blood into the muscle for the warm-ups. And then we might go 15, and then maybe I would say the low end range would be 10 reps, but then we'll do some drop sets on that one. So we might go 10 reps, drop set, do another 10, drop, do another 10, and we'll just go crazy on that last set.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's
I'm already feeling it. It is. Hammies.
Hammies. Oof. Okay, it's between stiff leg, like dumbbell stiff leg deadlift, so like an RDL, and your typical lying hamstring curl. I love doing a little bit different variation, but I'll curl up with 2 legs. I'll release 1 leg and do an eccentric with just a single leg. So you curl up legs, drop a leg, do 1 leg, and you alternate which leg.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Because then you can push the weight a little bit heavier and challenge that 1 leg on the way down for that eccentric. So I love doing that. That I'll do like, again, 3 to 4 sets of, I would say 12. So you end up doing like 6 each leg for the eccentric portion. RDLs, I'll do 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 15. Might start with 15 reps, heavier sets around 10.
And calves.
Okay. I'm going to say a unique one. I mean, your typical seated or standing, but one that I'll give my clients sometimes, and it's underrated, body weight. I call it Tabata calves. So what you do is it's 8 sets, but you need a stopwatch. You go 20 seconds of calf raises.
Yeah.
10-second rest. 20-second calf raises, 10-second rest. You only have 10-second rest in between.
Yeah.
For 8 rounds. So it ends up being, I think it's like 4.5 minutes straight, but you only have 10-second rest in between every single round. And it burns.
Yeah.
Never done it before. Your calves are sore. Like I gave it to a client, I think a couple months ago, and her calves were sore for like a week straight because it's just something you're not used to.
I'm sore just listening to what you said. What about tibialis? Do you train the tibialis?
Oh,
not many do. I'm just trying to sound technical. I'm trying to sound very technical, but I do train tibialis. We've got a tibialis machine that actually. Yeah, I know. I sent it to Jason, and maybe I'll send it to show you. But there's a tibialis where you put your feet in and you put weights on the side and you just raise it like that. Yeah, so.
My gyms aren't fancy enough for that.
Oh no,
you can makeshift something. I could tie a band around a pole.
Well, I feel there's a muscle there, but anyway, glutes.
Oh, I have to say hip thrust. Hip thrust is that's just, it's a killer, and it's just a staple for building.
Sets and reps.
I'll probably do like 4 sets starting at like 20 reps, maybe for the first one, working down to like 10. And I'll do something similar as like the pendulum, where I'll do like maybe a double or triple drop set there. Or maybe like a hold at the end, something like that, just to really burn it out. I also love a good cable kickback as well, but that's more accessory. Always go for the hip thrust first.
Okay, so this is your moment. If you'd like to tell us and tell everyone where we can find you. Where can we find you? Tell us, even if you've got sponsors, whatever you need to say, tell us, go for it.
Awesome. Okay, I'll start with my sponsors, because without them, like, their support means the world to me. So I have to give a big thank you to them. So Devoteewear, they've believed in me since 2020, and I've been with them ever since. They're a clothing company based out of Vancouver, Canada.
Nice.
So yeah, they're incredible, the most incredible people. BioX Performance Nutrition, so that's the supplement company I'm with. They're also based out of Vancouver, Canada, which is pretty cool. KH Customs, they sponsor my bikinis. So Krista is so talented, and she just did she did my suit for 2022. My Olympia suit was actually Mindy's suit, which was also done by her. And then my newest suit, the red one that I just wore at the Ben Weider, she absolutely brought my Envision to life, and I was in love with it. So I have to give a huge thank you to her. And then Absolute Touch, it's a tanning company based out of Canada. So those are my sponsors. And then you can find me on Instagram, @Bolton_IFBB Pro. And yeah.
Well, let me say, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's great to talk to another visualization sister.
This was awesome.
I hope you enjoyed it. And I learned more about journaling and reflection. I definitely can do more with reflection, but I also learned a lot more the joys of natural competitors, regardless anyone's on a PED, but still the journey towards Olympia. You got me excited. I really appreciate your time, and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve. No, this was awesome. This was a great chat. Like, I had a blast. So thank you for having me. I love what you do. Thank you for doing this for us athletes, because it's awesome. Like, just having a voice and just talking more, because it's one thing seeing these athletes up on stage, but we're also just human. We're just like everyone else. Like, so I just want to inspire as many people as I can, and you can go after your goals. You can do this. And again, if you want to pursue bodybuilding, you don't have to be on PEDs. You can do this naturally. You can accomplish a lot. So,
no, 100%. I mean, it's just been one person after another, especially the last, like, everybody's been great, but the last few, and watching people grow and just looking after themselves as well. That's what's most important. It is, you know, it's a good sport, and definitely becoming very popular. So yeah, good on everybody here, especially inspiring a 54-year-old who's got a podcast and getting free personal training by the end of it.